My name is Amy Manzoni-Darpino.
And I'm the Reverend Natasha Stewart.
And we're from Trinity Church in Bridgewater. And we're here today to share with you our ministry, the Friends of Emmett. It's an addiction ministry of faith, fellowship, and healing. And we're going to start by telling you a little bit how Friends of Emmett came to be. So if you could just indulge me for a moment while I tell you a little bit about the folks in this picture. This is a photo from April 8th, 2014. We were heading into the Easter service at church, and I put this up on Facebook, as we do with everywhere we go now, and checked in and said, here's my whole heart, right here on the stairs of my church. The gentleman all the way to the left is my oldest son, Emmett. His high school sweetheart, Allie, is in the center, my younger son, Zachary, and my daughter, Alice. Here we are at my happy place with everybody that means the world to me. And as I said, this was in 2014. This was Emmett's senior year in high school. He was graduating with honors, headed off to college on a full academic scholarship, and just 2 years later, on April 20th, 2016, he became one of those 2069 that we lost that year to a drug overdose. Now, his journey during those 2 years is a story for another day, but what came out of the most painful moment of my life was my church stepping up with this incredible response and saying that this is somebody that was in our pews that we didn't know was hurting, that we didn't know was suffering. How many more people are here that need to know we're here for them? So that is why they came to me and said, we'd really love to do something to honor Emmett and to support those in our community, in our church, our larger community, that are also suffering from this same disease.
So another parishioner approached me and said, what are we going to do for Amy and her family? And I said, I don't know. Let's ask what they need. So after talking with Amy and her husband about what their needs were, it became very clear that it was support for the family members, especially for Emmett's brother and sister, that were most needed and the hardest resources to find to give them support during Emmett's illness and after his death. So we looked around a little and we discovered a Baptist church in Plattstow, New Hampshire, that was doing this kind of ministry already. And I called their pastor, not expecting much response from a female Episcopal priest. And he was amazing. Amazing. Pastor Aaron opened his heart and his doors to us and told me everything they did about how they gather together and have a meal, how they have a service afterwards of healing for all the family members who had loved ones who were struggling with addictions of any kind, and how this had grown and become a monthly support group for people in this exact position that we found ourselves in. So a group of us from church went up to New Hampshire and we visited their Mercy Street, and Aaron continued to hand me all sorts of information and continued to be a warm and welcoming presence to us. And I can't say enough about how much he helped us on this journey as we went forward.
So in January of 2017, we officially launched our Friends of Emmett ministry. And how we did that was with a National Day of Remembrance. At that time, the official number of people that we were losing in the nation to overdose was 129 people per day. So on January 29th, we held our first annual Night of Remembrance. This was to honor all those that had lost. We had a great communal dinner. We had a proclamation from Governor Baker declaring it a National Day of Remembrance. We had town officials. We had church officials, we had members of other churches in our community, we had a beautiful candlelight vigil, and we had some affected family members share their stories of what they had gone through. And our church was packed with everyone excited and excited is the wrong word, but excited to spend this time with us and to honor all of these loved ones. So that Night of Remembrance kicked off our monthly Mercy Street services, which Reverend Natasha will tell you about.
So every month after that first initial big service, we wanted to follow up with a monthly support service to the family members and to loved ones who are struggling. And so on the last Wednesday of every month, we gather at 6 o'clock for a meal. We had some thoughts that this would be a nice potluck meal. We quickly learned that is not what we needed to do. And so we provide the meal for the people that gather there. And then afterwards, we split into two groups. The adults go in and do a healing service in the sanctuary, and followed by either an educational opportunity or an opportunity where people who are in the similar positions share their personal stories. We alternate months, depending on resources and what we can get. And then the children go off and do their own program. We've hired a trained therapist who comes in and does an art therapy group with the children who have usually parents who are struggling with substance use disorder. And she does these amazing time with them and helping them explore what's going on in their lives in the safe environment for them. We have about 15 people that come to that monthly, but as this community is very transient, it's not always the same 15 people. So we have a number of core group people, and then we have people that will come for a while, and then perhaps there'll be a relapse or something like that, and they'll have to go off and take care of family issues, and we won't see them for a while, and then they'll come back to us later. So all in told, at the end of last year, we figured that we had served probably about 75 people through our ministry, just on our monthly evenings, even though we only had about 15 every month.
And I do need to brag about our children. Here are some samples of the projects that they work on with the therapist. So she really does do a lot of great work about the things in their life that they loved, teaching them about creating a safe space for themselves, even when the rest of their life doesn't feel so safe, and then how to safely express their feelings. She did a project on feeling boxes, which was wonderful. So the kids really come in, and it's very hands-on, and they often don't, at the onset of the project, don't understand what they're learning. They think they're making this amazing, beautiful project that they're going to show off, and they learn this beautiful, beautiful lesson about the strength of their own voice and being able to share their feelings when maybe that's not what they've grown accustomed to within their own setting.
And usually the adults are waiting for the kids to finish their project.
Yes. So one of the things that we've done, we just gave you a little bit of information about what we've done within the walls of our church. So the other thing that we've done is collaborated with different groups outside of our church walls. The Brockton Area Opioid Abuse Prevention Collaborative, we've attended, they have a coalition called Bridging Lives, which meets in our local high school and brings together people from different communities. So they've invited us to attend those meetings so that we can be a part of the bigger solution. Addiction Policy Forum is a nonprofit that's based out of Washington, D.C., that does advocacy and education. And we've actually been partnering with them for the last year and getting some great educational resources from them to disseminate out into our communities. Just to be able to explain to people, because very often, we've even had we have some women that join us quite regularly from a sober house. And so these are people that are in the midst of their own disease, and they don't necessarily even understand the disease themselves, nor has anyone sat down to talk to them about how their brain is being affected by the substance use, why they find it so necessary to use this substance. It's very empowering for them to understand the neuroscience behind addiction. And Addiction Policy Forum has given us some great tools to be able to do that in very digestible packets of information so that they really understand it. Of course, we have our friends from 2069. We've proudly been displaying one of their signs in our front yard for quite some time. And then EB Hope is an outreach center that we have an amazingly dedicated team of volunteers from our Friends of Emmett group that go and man a resource table at this drop-in center. And what the drop-in center does is it allows anybody to walk into this space and find the resources that they need. So even if people aren't necessarily coming to our meetings out of this, they know that there is a faith-based response in their area, and word does travel throughout the community. So our presence there has definitely been very comforting for folks. And then Teen Challenge, who you actually saw featured in the 2069 video as well, we've done some collaborating with them, working on fundraising and their annual run to end addiction. And then these are just some photos of some outreach. The Teen Challenge Banquet, the Run to End Addiction, our fabulous table volunteers doing their thing. Our Candlelight Vigil that we held again last year. We had our second annual, and this January we'll be telling you in a couple minutes about our third annual, which we of course extend the invitation to all of you to come and be a part of that very powerful service with us. So these are some of the things that are coming up for Friends of Emmett. We do have some members of our organization that are going to be trained in smart recovery for young adults. We are within walking distance of a Bridgewater State University, so we thought this would be a great age group for us to kind of try and work with. So smart recovery is self-management and recovery training. It's a more analytical version of a self-help group. It really gives them some great tools to help them manage their disease. We've applied to run an Alateen group within our walls. And then, very excitingly, Addiction Policy Forum, who I just spoke about, has a Massachusetts state chapter. And Reverend Natasha, along with the other members of the Friends of Emmett, are going to be the state chair for this national organization. And what that does is it really gives them a voice at the table. It really empowers them. It gets us involved in advocacy not only on a statewide level, but on a national level, and gives us some real opportunities to go out there and make a difference for everyone in our community that's suffering with this disease.
So for those of you who will be at our diocesan convention and are perhaps delegates or clergy, we've also, through doing this work, I have been encouraged and written a diocesan resolution that's going to come before you this year about some of this work and about raising awareness within our churches and about the need for us to continue to reach out and to help people. And one of the ways that we're able to do that is to have Narcan in all of our congregations and in all of our ministries in the diocese. And so the resolution is encouraging parishes to do that, to get the training, and to have that available to help save lives, and so people can get into recovery and continue to get healthy again and on the right path. And we're not just encouraging people to do this. Through the Addiction Policy Forum, the Friends of Emmett has been given 300 Narcan packets that look like this, and they have information in them about what to do and how to do it and who to call and about recovery and all of these sorts of important things, as well as Narcan. And we also will come to your parish and do the training and give this to you for free. The refills are free. Massachusetts has a standing prescription at CVS and Walgreens. So if you ever find yourself in the position that you have to use your Narcan, you can walk into any CVS or Walgreens and just tell them you need some, and they will give it to you for free, no questions asked. And you can always have it on hand. So you can come and look at the information packets at our table today. We don't have Narcan in them right now. And if you'd like to coordinate a training for your parish or for your deanery, please come and speak to me or to Amy, and we can help do that. And I also, of course, will shamelessly encourage you to vote for the resolution.
So other ways that you can help spread our ministry would be, of course, to come and join us for one of our Mercy Street services. We invite everyone to come join us for dinner, join us for fellowship. It's an amazing opportunity to get to know more about the disease and to be able to get to know more about the people that are suffering that could be sitting right next to you in your pew. Host a Mercy Street service at your church. We'd be happy to come in and help you get it up and running, give you some training, give you some support, host the first couple meetings for you. We'd love to see this spread.
We had so much encouragement from Pastor Aaron and his willingness and openness to help us use the Mercy Street name as well. And the only thing he asked of us is that we share it forward.
Yes.
So we want to come and help you do this.
And then lastly, educate yourself and your parishioners. Talk to us about holding training sessions. We can do training sessions on what is addiction, how to really keep your kids safe from addiction, how to properly dispose of prescription drugs. We have a Train the Trainer program where we can train you to then go out into your communities and hold those trainings. So I urge everyone to be as educated as possible about this issue, because it really is happening within all of our churches. And I thank you for your attention today. And I'm just going to end with, as we're walking away, One of the things that we have found from our candlelight vigils is that one of the most moving
I will do it while you talk because you can't go out of the box.
Okay. One of the most moving parts of the whole night has been seeing the faces of this disease, because not everyone realizes that it's the mother that you see at the grocery store, the son that was in your Sunday school class. So we're just going to pass around some photos, and I just urge you to take a look at them. These are all people that were lost in 2016 to the disease. Thank you very much.